Hey there guys, so as requested in the comments, I would like to perform a quick overview of all the cases of the Chainjump exploit in the any% speedrun of Little Big Adventure 2. Alright, so let's begin. First of all, let's go over what Chainjump is exactly. So a Chainjump is a combination of some known existing exploits in LBA 2. So those exploits are mostly reliant on our ability to cut off an animation mid-jump or mid-fall, or however you put it, but mostly for our purposes it's going to be mid-jump. So in most cases we begin from a running jump, so we accelerate, gain some momentum, and then press jump. And that is what's called a running jump. But there is a way in which it can be sabotaged. So when we press jump, we can start spamming the key for the sporty mode. So the most well-known way of changing to the sporty mode is by pressing control, and then using the arrow keys to change modes. But there is a lesser known way of doing it, and that is by pressing the key bindings. By default they are F5 to F8. Well, for my purposes I've changed them to 1 through 4 number keys. So I simply begin a running jump, and immediately after I take off I start spamming sporty. And that is the way that I that I prolong my running jump. But not really the running jump, but the condition of the running jump. So what can that be used for exactly, you would ask, because the practicality of it doesn't seem that obvious. Well, for one, there are some quite annoying barriers in the game that could soft lock you if you didn't know what to do at this particular point in the game. But here comes the running jump. So here we accelerate, we gain momentum, we set up a trajectory so that we are facing perpendicularly. So we need to be facing not at this angle, but right about here, 90 degrees. So we give ourselves some room for a head start. We gain momentum, we jump, and we start spamming the sporty key. Unfortunately, I seem to have locked myself into a corner here right behind that pillar there. So let me load the save again. Adjust my trajectory, and this time I'm going to spam this key again. Oh no. Yeah, see that? Well, that's what the problem here is that even though you've nailed how to do the first part, the trajectory might still take some time, because the isometric view is not the most obvious one to figure out. And the tank controls also don't help. But anyways, the timing of the spam must be under control as well. For me, the timing is about like 5 presses per second. That is the optimal way of doing it. So I accelerate, I press jump, and I start spamming sporty. Ideally, you should only be hearing the boing noise of you taking off every once in a while, and not every time, because if you hear it every time, it means that that you need to increase the rate of the spamming. But that's only one way of performing this one, so let me just try and perform it successfully once again. Alright, but that is just the way to do it, simply for the sake of doing it, without actually saving time. The way we do it in the speedrun, to squeeze the most momentum out of it, is by... so first let me show it outside of the electric barrier, because it's going to be tricky showing that without stopping at all to overview what I'm doing. So let me just do it by facing this fence here. So here I gain some momentum. I press jump, and right before I land, I do a quick stroke of the sporty key. Right before I land, not the moment I land and not just after I land, but just before I land. So the jump, the way that the jumping mechanic is implemented into this game is there are keyframes to the jumping animation. And so we need to wait until the last keyframe before we have landed. And when that time comes, we need to get ourselves ready to stroke the sporty key. So, of course, the way it seems easy when I'm doing it here, but when we are doing it above an electric fence or above some spikes that normally cause damage, like in the cave of Moya, where in the normal route we would gather the pearl of incandescence. That is where we would need some more precise timing. So ideally it should be like this. So we take off. Right before we land, we stroke the sporty key, and that allows us to continuously perform the running jump. So for the purposes of this particular skip, we can either do it the fast way, just by spamming the sporty key. Do remember to always keep holding the jump key before you've ended your chain jump, because if you release it, the next time that you cancel the animation is going to make you just lose all the momentum, and that is also where you're going to start taking damage from the electric floor. So the moment we've started pressing jump, that's when we keep holding it until we've completed the exploit. Right, so the first way is the one. It's this one. And the other one, as I've showcased, right. You won't exactly get it first try, because yes, the timing is it needs to be ingrained in the muscle memory. Of course, it's not something that you can figure out by eye right away. It's pretty much like an equal timing between every jump. I've provided some input views here in order for you to make out what exactly is happening. And yes, the trajectory doesn't necessarily have to be perpendicular, it just needs to be facing more leftward. So you will lose some momentum if you're facing way too much to the left, but at least that will save you from getting locked into a corner. So once again, sorry. Right, so here, we take off. And then every time that we are about to land, you do a quick stroke. But not necessarily a quick stroke. Again, it depends on the version, because in this version, that being the DOSBox version, which is basically the same as the original CD release from 1997, we can just keep holding the T-pose until we decide that it's time for us to take off. So here we just hold the T-pose, we take off. When we are about to land, we hold the T-pose again, simply by holding the sporty key. And if we want to continue, we release it again. And so we've made it. However, there is a bit of an issue with that in the recent classic port from 2.21. It was released in 2022. Because the movement mechanics work a little differently there. So let me just cut to the classic version and show you what the differences are. Alright, so here we are in the classic version. So for the sake of the showcase, I've prepared some save files for both versions. The save files should be interchangeable in both versions, in the legacy version and in this version as well. Alright, so the major difference is that we cannot hold the T pose just by holding the sporty key. So right now I'm holding the sporty key, and yet the only thing that it does is it resets my previous animation. Nothing more. Same goes for all the other behavior shortcuts. And that makes for a bit of an issue because it requires a bit higher precision for exploits such as the Chainjump. So let me do the same thing that I just showed you in the DOSBox version. So first of all, let me do it the easy way, simply by spamming the sporty key. So again, we accelerate, we hold jump, and we spam the sporty key. Right, so here the boing sound is going to consistently ring out after each press of the sporty key. That is one of the major differences from the DOSBox version, so you don't get that much of a sound cue to tell you whether your rate of spamming is on point or not. But muscle memory is going to take care of that, I'm pretty sure. And of course, the hard way, or the speedrun way, is like this. So I'm doing it the way that I advised you to do it from the beginning. So we do not hold the sporty key before we've landed. We just stroke it and then we release it. And we continue holding jump. By doing that, you continuously perform the running jump. Of course, a major bit of difference being that we are not allowed any breaks in the middle of the jump. Yeah, of course, and if we try pressing it too early, yep, that is where we fall to our death. Too late. Also doesn't work. Right, so this is the first instance of the chain jump, and that is the one I was requested to make a video about. But of course, this is far from the only instance of the chain jump in the speedrun, in the any % speedrun in particular. There are, I think, 13? Yeah, I know, only 11 more instances of the chain jump here. Not all of them are mandatory, but I'm still going to show them. Just to display how useful this trick is throughout the whole run. Alright, so let me go back to the legacy version, and I'm going to show you the next use of the chain jump. Alright, so would you believe it, but the second instance of the chain jump is to make our way across this same electric floor, but the other way around. You're going to ask, why would we do that when there's a button right here that switches it off? And the answer is pace, of course. In the speedrun, pace is the most important thing. But of course, if you don't want to make things harder for yourself, you can just run over to right about here. Jump, reset the jump, open the inventory, view the holomap for about a second, and flip through the electric floor. That is a glitch of its own, and I'm going to overview it in a separate video. For now, I'm going to refer you to Amaneko's overview of the holomap glitch that he made about 2 years ago on his own channel. The link is going to be in the description, along with all the saves that I've made for this showcase. Right, so this is mainly for the speedrun again. If we want to save those precious seconds, then we just do the same thing that we did for the first chain jump. So we accelerate, we press jump, and then right about here, sorry, I accidentally opened the inventory menu. Alright, so I can allow myself to T-pose because this is the legacy version. Alright, about here is where I release the T-pose and allow Twinsen to get a bit higher in his jump, right up to the point where he is directly above the catwalk. You see that catwalk right below him, where there's a guard patrolling. That's when we should reset the jump. Yep, and right before we have landed on the electric floor, that's when we view the holomap through the inventory again. That is the only way that this glitch works. View it for a second, and we have clipped ourselves through this floor. That is, of course, the easy way of doing it. So the easiest way is this, just pressing the button. The easy way, so like the just normal way, is by spamming. And the world record way, of course, is by chaining multiple proper running jumps together in a sequence. So right here we... Yeah, of course, yeah. I think it shouldn't be 2 proper jumps. It should only be like 1, and then... Yeah, I haven't done pill runs in a bit, so I need to get... Yeah, so I'm probably going to have to spam it for a little bit and then start doing proper jumps. So I spam for a bit, then I do a proper jump, and then the other way of clipping yourself through an electric floor or anything like that is by opening the quick save or quick load menu. So that is not just the load menu and you can open through the main menu, but that is the menu that you can open as one of the key bindings for this game. So if you go through the options, you can see that there is a key binding for save and for load. So in my case, those key bindings are S for save and Q for load. Q is because it's those two are close together, so I can just alternate between the two for my convenience during a speedrun. So when I have reset my jump, right here in this instance, is when I press my save menu key, and in the save menu key I hold escape. I've also rebounded to tilde, and I hold it again for about a second, and I successfully clip through the electric floor. Let me show that again. I'm going to do that both with the save menu and with the holo map. Right, so here. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, I'm doing it way too precisely. I'm taking off. Alright. That's with the save menu, and then with the holo map. Yep, so like that. This is probably a bit too precise a jump, because as you can see I landed on the edge of this catwalk, which means that the clearance here is just about an inch in Twinzonian terms. Alright, so that was the chain jump number 2 in the DOSBox version. Let me show that in the classic version, which is the normal one these days. Alright, so here we are in the classic version again. Now I'm going to show you how to perform chain jump number 2 in this version. So again, the difference is that we cannot T-pose continuously. So we can just spam it and make it look like we are T-posing, but really, yeah. So let me accelerate, press jump, and then start spamming. Again, we reset the jump in mid-air when we are confident that we are just over the catwalk. And then we open the inventory, use the holo map for just a second, and we have clipped through. And then the hard way, although I'm not sure if it's going to work from the first try, because this is much more of a precise setup in this version. Alright, never mind. Alright, So once again, the easy way. I think I overshot it there. Oh no, I didn't. Alright. And then the hard way. Alright, so that is chain jump number 2. Let me move on to chain jump number 3. Which is... where is it? Alright, so it is way further on in the game. In the Wannie mines. Which is in the Undergus. On Planet Sea Leech. Alright, so we are back in the Legacy version. Now we're going to make our way to the Wannie mines. So we find ourselves having just entered the Wannie mines. And having run past this guard here, either having run past him or having killed him, whichever way is easier. For the purposes of the showcase, I'm going to kill him. Right. So we find ourselves next to this ledge here, and the easiest way to perform this jump in the game, of course, this jump is mandatory. If you want to get across by doing this instead of going through the southern passage. But in the normal way, in the normal game, we need to make a running jump either way. But here, if we want to save the most time, what we do is we chain multiple jumps together. Of course, as you can see, there is a bit of a height difference here between the platform that we are standing on right here and the platform that we need to make our way across to. Then the solution here, one that is not accessible to us in the classic version, but one which is present here in the Legacy version, is simply T-posing while still holding the jump key, so blank space by default. So again, just like in the previous chain jumps, we accelerate, we press jump, and we start holding the T-pose. I did it too early, alright? Alright, accelerate. Here we just hold the T-pose, and then if we want to continue the chain jump, we release the sporty key, which lets us continue our chain of jumps. And then once we have made our way to here, we held the T-pose again, and then we re-release it, and just like that, we are in the next area. Let me show that once again. Of course, one of the main issues here is you can miscalculate your trajectory and accidentally make your way into this corner, and that is actually one of the better things that may happen. Even though that hardly happens to me, but you can also overshoot it to the point where you fall down right here. Of course, the way to prevent it is by loading the instant death glitch save that we make earlier in the game. I'll make a separate overview for that in a separate video. Pretty sure that Amaneko made one as well, but I will need to dig for it. If I manage to find it, I will attach it in the description to this video as well. Alright, so once again. Oh no, alright. Okay. Yeah, I'm always a bit... Yeah, alright. Let me walk you through it again. So, we accelerate, we jump, we hold the T-pose, so we release it, we hold the T-pose, we release it again, now we can release the jump. Right, that is how we perform this one, and that saves us like a few seconds over stopping for each jump. Alright, let me move on to the classic version and show you what the problem is there. Alright, so we're back in the classic version. Let me load the same save file. Alright, here we are on this platform. Let me kill the guard to make it easier here. Alright, so again, the issue here is that we cannot T-pose, which means that we still have to make this first running jump the regular way. So So yeah, we just make our way across to here. But then there is still a small time save that we can perform here using the chain jump. So in order to do that, we need to run into this platform here and take off. And then right before Twinsen has landed, we need to do a quick stroke of the sporty key. And that is how we skip having to do another jump. So once again, so this is a normal jump, a normal running jump, and then here we can still chain 2 running jumps, like so. Yeah, so as you can see, we successfully made it up to here. So the next chain jump is used to make our way back from this area to the previous area. So after we have grabbed the fragment, from here there is another small time save that we can perform by taking off right before we have left this area. So let me get back to the DOSBox version to showcase how it's done there. Alright, so chain jump number 4. So I'm going to assume that you have already grabbed the second fragment. And so once we have made our way past these 2 miners here, we need to continue. Oh, sorry, we need to avoid these rock throws as well. So while we are running towards this exit here, and right before we have left through it, we need to alternate our trajectory here to face right about there, so like 90 degrees towards the bottom right edge of the screen. Otherwise, there may be some issues there once we have made our way to the next room, and we can accidentally collide with a fan that's blowing on the wall. Right. T-pose. And release the T-pose.
Tu viens de ramasser une gemme.
Right, so the perfect way to do it is, of course, by jumping right on top of the gem, but that is not always the case. So you might need to reposition yourself for a bit. Of course, this is an optional one. You can do it just to save some extra time. So if you don't want to do it, of course, you can just fall down and grab the gem the normal way. But here's how I do it. So we accelerate, we jump right before we've left, we hold the T-pose, you release the T-pose,
Tu viens de ramasser une gemme.
and make our way into that corner there. So I'm going to try for an extra few takes just to get it right. Yeah, and this is what happens if we collide with the fan here. Of course, the animation gets cancelled and we have to run up
Tu viens de ramasser
the normal way. Right, so one more try. Right. So whatever, this is just like a small bit of optimization that is not really required for a good run. I could actually hold record without this optimization at all. But anyways, let me switch to the classic version and show you how it's done there. Oh, never mind. Again, the issue with the classic version is that we cannot T-pose, so by default, if we need to alternate our height to actually jump down to a platform that's lower in height, we cannot T-pose to continue our chain jump. So, of course, we start the chain jump right about here, but we cannot T-pose, and so we inevitably have to fall down and lose momentum. So that's just how it is. Of course, if you want to keep the momentum, you need to play the legacy version. At the end of this video, I will give you a quick heads up on how to play the legacy version that is included with the classic version on Steam. You can play it without the Steam launcher at all. You can just launch it directly through the batch file that is included there. Alright, so let me move on to chain jump number 5, which is in Wannie village when we are about to enter the chapel. Right, so here is chain jump number 5. Sorry, I told you this was going to be a quick overview, but of course, now that I've decided to show you each instance, this means I'm going to have to go a bit more in depth on each of these instances. But of course, if you just want to know the core principle, then you have learned it already. It's at the very beginning of the video. Right, so chain jump number 5. Right, so here we are, near the entrance to the chapel. Of course, the problem is that there are fireballs constantly being thrown at us. And the good thing about the chain jump is that it acts as a 2-in-1 helper tool. So at the same time that it helps us advance in a linear fashion, it also helps us cancel whichever damage is being dealt to us at any given time. Not at any given time, but while we are in the middle of the chain jump. So here, there's a bit of optimization that we perform as we accelerate and then we start spamming the sporty key while we are moving where we need to go. Alright, so the moment we have entered, that's when we start spamming. We still need to cancel a few instances of damage being dealt to us by the fireballs, but that just has to happen. But otherwise, yeah. So we set up the trajectory to get ourselves on top of this small flight of stairs. And once that's done, we turn ourselves, and then again we gain some momentum. Yep, of course I did the dumb thing there by not spamming it. Yeah, here we spam it again. Of course, the trajectory is the issue in my case, because of course I'm a bit rusty, and that means that my muscle memory is not as fresh. Right, we turn ourselves. Alright. So the most important thing here is to make those turns quick and to start accelerating the moment we have turned the way that we need. About the clover, don't worry about the clover, by the way. In the most recent routes, there is an alternative to collecting as many clovers as you need, which is the instant death glitch. Alright. Again, so I just about missed the timing there. Yeah. Alright. Again, so there are multiple cycles going on at the same time here. And in order to get through them all, you need to begin advancing the moment that you've entered the room. If you don't begin advancing, then there is no guarantee that you're going to have those cycles collide again. Alright, so having done those 3 instances of the chain jump in order, you'll make your way to this ladder and get into the chapel. The principle is very similar in Classic for obvious reasons, because it is a spammy chain jump, and it works basically the same way, but let me still showcase it. Alright, now we're in Classic, and let me show you how it's done here. Mechanically, there's the sport is maybe a bit different. It's a bit stiff in the way that it responds to your controls. So I found that the legacy version is much quicker in responding to your key presses. Now, not all the key presses, but the way that the camera moves in particular is, well, yeah. The main issue is that there are some very annoying collisions right around some corners that you can accidentally get stuck on, and it is maybe difficult to get yourselves out of those collisions. Alright, again, I got caught in one of those collisions just there, right near that corner of that flight of stairs. Alright, again, I didn't get myself enough momentum. And that is why I couldn't perform the running jump right there. Yeah, so this version is different in that you cannot be sure about how much momentum you've gained. Sorry, that was a small bit of lag there. Again, yeah. So we need to be sure here we've got enough momentum to perform this one. Yeah. Again. Sorry. Right, so just be sure that you're not getting caught on the firefly cycle, because this firefly right here can get awfully close to this ladder and make you fall off of it at the most critical moment. And you need to make sure that that doesn't happen. But otherwise, it's all relatively straightforward, besides the awful movement mechanics here. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so it's basically just 3 instances of chain jumping combined into one bit of movement. Alright, here we are in the chapel. We talk to these guys.
I'm trying to find them, but I'm for.
Alright. And now, the next instance is us trying to get back down. Of course, when we get back down, the fireballs haven't gone away, and we still need to get through them. And that is the next instance number 6. Alright, let me get back into the legacy version. Alright, so chain jump number 6. So, again, I'm going to go for the more optimal way, because, of course, we can just climb back down, get here, and then try to accelerate from here, but, of course, there are some fireballs that, as well as this firefly, that can prevent us from successfully accelerating. So, the safe way of doing it is by starting the jump from right around here. So, I accelerate from around this carpet, I jump, and I T-pose. Alright, so we only need to start holding the T-pose after we have made our way past the ladder. Alright, so the moment that we have reached the floor is when we, of course, the firefly is going to prevent us from landing successfully. So it's best to adjust the trajectory to be facing more towards the bottom of the screen, but not way too far to the bottom of the screen, because that is going to prevent us from staying on track. So right about here, right? Yep. And just like that, we have made it into the middle of this flight of stairs. And from here, it's just a matter of cancelling all the damage and turning and keeping on accelerating. So again. Right, yeah, I was way too late of a jump. Yep, of course, the firefly prevented me from continuing. Of course, I cannot chain jump down a flight of stairs because the height difference. This clover is optional, and actually you don't really need to collect it because IDG. Alright, so let me show you how it's done in the classic version. Alright, now we're playing the classic version again. So the issue here is we cannot T-pose, so the acceleration will most probably have to be done from the next area. But either way, starting the jump from here is going to give us a bit of an advantage because, well, we can make our way into a safer area than the one that's right beneath that firefly. Yeah, of course, the jump was way too late there. I know, the firefly, yeah. The problem is with the firefly cycle. It's not favorable to us forming this trip. Yeah, so the trajectory will have to be fiddled with. Alright, from here it's just a matter of cancelling all the damage and running past all these fireflies and fireballs. So once again, This is not the most straightforward way of doing it. Again, that is why I don't recommend playing this version if you want to speedrun. Alright, so here we are. Let me move to Chainjump number 7, which is on the island of the Muscovies. The point where we have already collected the Muscovies key and have to make our way to the throne. Alright, so I'm back in the superior version, sorry I meant the legacy version, and here is Chainjump number 7. So here there is a running jump that we have to make in order to save some time. But of course, after this running jump, there is a bit of distance left until we can safely fall down. Let me just show you what I mean. Let me do it the normal way, the intended way. Right, so this is the running jump, and then, yeah, that is the catwalk which we need to make our way across to. If we want to do it the fastest way, and what we do is we adjust our trajectory to be perpendicular to that other platform, so basically just facing the bottom right corner of the screen. And we are sure that we can make it. And we begin accelerating. We take off. Oh, sorry, that was way too late. Right, so yeah, again. So how am I doing this so badly? All right. All right. So again, it's a matter of chaining multiple jumps together, and then T-posing when there is a height difference, either positive or negative. So now that there's a height difference, we need to hold the T-pose up until we have made it down to this level. And once we are here, you release the T-pose and fall down. Yep. So once again, T-pose, release. Alright. Yeah, so you cannot really spam it here because there is there has to be a certain distance we need to make our way across. Alright, let me move to the classic version and show you again what the problem there is. Alright, so we're playing classic again, and let's try this chain jump in this version. Of course, we can make the long jump, but then when it comes to T-posing, that is when the main problem occurs. So we can change 2 jumps together, like so. But then, of course, no T-pose, which means that we have to just run towards the edge and fall down. Either that or just doing it the vanilla way. Of course, this loses us a bit of time. So yes, I would still advise to chain those jumps. Yeah. Right, so that is the way it's done in Classic. Now let's move on to Chainjump number 8, which is on Island CX. And that is one of the more tricky ones because we need to avoid being shot at the same time as performing the chain jump. Alright, so Chainjump number 8. We're back in Legacy version. And we have just entered the tower on Island CX. So our objective here is making our way to that locked door. Of course, the fact that it's locked is not an issue because we can perform a glitch to make our way through it. But getting to it is another issue because this guy is going to keep shooting at us. So the way we deal with that is we set up a trajectory so we get out from behind this corner, and we set up a trajectory that is just right about perpendicular to that door there. So yeah, so that is probably not a working strategy because trajectory needs to be better than that. Because yes, I completely missed it there. Alright. Of course, I performed another hollow glitch / menu glitch / timer glitch right there. And in the Maneko's video, you'll see him going over this one as well. But here I'm just going to show you how to perform the chain jump to avoid this guy. Right, so I did that, but with the hollow map. Right, so once again. Yeah, I got way too close into that corner. And of course, if you don't manage to clip into there, you can just T-pose to skip. All the other shots and perform the glitch while doing a regular jump. Alright, let me show you how it's done in the classic version now. Alright, so the most notable tendency here is that classic basically just makes everything that used to be straightforward more difficult for speedrunners. So here, we do the same thing, but then the moment we are in that corner, we need to open the inventory, use the hollow map. And of course, I missed the setup angle there. So we do it once more. Yeah, and we have made it through. Now we just cancel this guy's shots and make our way to that elevator there. Right, so one more time. Yeah, didn't get enough momentum there. A running jump. Wrong trajectory as well. Yeah, of course I missed. Yeah, so basically it's better to just do it first try, because after that this guy is going to be a nuisance. So basically I've already showcased it, how to do it like the proper way. So let's see what the next chain jump is. Chain jump number 9, alright, let me get back to the legacy version. Alright, so chain jump number 9. It is performed in the same area that we performed the first one. But the difference is, at this point we have gathered the token, the travel token. And the only thing left here is to kill this guy for a clover. That's what we need to do in the main route. And then from this point we just accelerate and make up for the height difference by T-posing to lower ourselves. So like so. Yeah, release the T-pose. So again. Yeah. Oh, this guy. And we have made it down without having to make a separate jump. Losing our precious seconds, of course. I think it needs not be said that these I think it does need to be said that these kinds of chain jumps where there is a notable height difference cannot be performed in the classic version, because you cannot T-pose to make up for that height difference. So now I'm just going to move on straight to chain jump number 10, which is in the Imperial Palace. Alright, so chain jump number 10 is another one of those chain jumps that you just perform for your convenience to save time. And it was one of the later ones to be found. And that was the way that we optimized this particular split. So once we have killed all the 3 hussars, now it's time to deal with this monstrosity. And the normal way to battle it is to wait until it has made its way down from the chest and face it. But of course the issue is we have to wait. And we cannot afford to wait. So what we can do instead is we can approach it, do a running jump. Right, let me go through it bit by bit. So we approach it, and the moment that we have collided with it is when we hold the T-pose while still holding the jump key, and we are on the ready. Sorry, I got too close there. We are on the ready to release that T-pose in order to make our way onto the chest while the monster is still on the chest. That way we can battle it so while it is still on top of there. Alright, so just like so. Alright, so in some instances that key there, it can fall through the floor, and in that case you just need to throw the ball in order to fetch it. But otherwise it's all quite straightforward. Let me show you that again. Yeah, actually we do not even need to hold jump all the time. You can just do a normal jump. And in some cases it's still going to go through the same way. Alright, and then we just dodge backwards, and that's going to open the chest counterintuitively.
Tu possèdes maintenant le fragment de clé des cieux.
Yeah,
Tu possèdes maintenant.
maintenant, possède maintenant. Alright, so we've collected all the 4 fragments as per the route. Now let me show you how the same trick is done in the classic version. Alright, so in the classic version, the main bit of difference is that we cannot T-pose, and so instead of T-posing while waiting for this guy, we just spam the sporty key continuously while performing the running jump. Of course, we need to wait for him to unfreeze and start moving, otherwise it's not going to work. And that's also why we need to set up a more precise trajectory in this case, because while we are spamming sporty, we can also be moved either to the left or to the right if our trajectory isn't too precise. Again, this trajectory was pretty sloppy, so let me just overwrite the save. And again, way too sloppy. Alright, so let me start spamming. Right, so for some reason I've made my way into that corner there. But still, now we are on top. We can successfully defeat this guy. And now we just need to throw the ball because the key fell to the floor. So let me showcase that again. Sweet. Yep, so like that. You can actually stop the whole movement cancellation thing totally, but it's not recommended because, well...
the soup's key. You now own...
Alright. We've gathered all the keys that we needed. Let's move on to Chainjump number 11. But before we do that, let me just say again that these bits of movement in Classic can be just too annoying for the speedrunning purposes, so I advise you to just play the Legacy version and not bother with this one. Alright, so Chainjump number 11 is just outside of this palace. Alright, so Chainjump number 11. This is where we perform it, so we have just left the Imperial Palace. And this guy has super bad aim, so we shouldn't worry about him if we have caught him in the right cycle. But either way, because while running up here we pass some areas, some extra areas, so this is actually a separate area from where the palace is located, and because of that, if we want to just continuously run from there to here and then jump, then Clinton is going to stop before performing his jump, so it's not going to be a running jump. So either way we have to make a stop right here and then set up our trajectory. So what we want to do here is, there are these guardrails right around the Emperor's bust, and so we need to make our way onto the guardrail that is on the southern side of the bust. So we start the running jump while facing this guardrail, and we jump while on top of that guardrail. Yeah, so let me show that in more detail. So we gain momentum, we jump. While on top of this guardrail, we hold the T-pose, and we release it. And while on top of this fence, we hold the T-pose again, then we release it. And like that, we continuously chain 3 separate running jumps. So like that. Yeah, sometimes we can overshoot this fence right there, but it is not a problem at all because we can just jump off of there and directly onto the slope that is below. Yeah, the one that I just slid off of. Now let me show you how it's done in the classic version. Alright, so what we do in classic is we need to directly chain all those 3 jumps because we cannot T-pose. So what we do here is we take off, and then right before we land on that next guardrail, we reset. And then right before we land on this green fence, we also reset the jump by pressing Sporty. Yeah, so like that. It looks a bit more smooth, but of course, all the many trade-offs of playing this version make it not really worth it. So once again, take off, you reset, and then we reset it again. Of course, we need to not get too high after that second jump, because we'll just end up falling for longer. Yeah, so like that. Now the final chain jump is absolutely optional, but it is a nice improvement to the main route, so I'm going to showcase it as well. Chain jump number 12, the final one. Alright, so this is chain jump number 12, purely optional, but alright, so here we are. Let's just assume that you have made your way to the Fun Frog statue and you have successfully performed all the other steps, and finally Fun Frog is walking into the lava of his own accord. Alright, so he has just fallen to his death, and once he has done that, we can start advancing to that main platform. But of course, you can sometimes something goes wrong, you know, like Fun Frog. Yeah, so the final strat here is of course making this second Fun Frog clip through the floor. But sometimes something can go wrong, like you can undershoot when exactly you have pressed the hollow map key, or for how long you ended up holding escape in the save menu. So, for example, if I've held it for way too little, what are my options? Like, if I decide to load IDG from here, it's going to be losing me like 25 seconds at the least. So, in order to make a better backup, better IDG backup, as we wait for this first guy to die, then we perform a chain jump, of course. And this last jump, and that last jump is going to be where we are brought back if we load IDG. And that is very important in case we want to have a backup and not lose some extra time, because if you don't have that, you can lose quite a good time, and this costs us basically nothing over not doing it. So once again, yeah, the guy is dead, so chain jump, right? Wait for Fun Frog and do the normal strat. In case it succeeds, well, that's great, but if it doesn't, of course, the backup is very good to have. Of course, let's just do it in the classic version, as per our traditions. Right, so in classic, we pretty much just do the same thing. We wait for him to walk into a self-made trap, chain jump, and of course, we can always check it by loading the IDG setup. Yep, and if we are respawned right back here, it means we have successfully made a backup in case something goes wrong. Once again. Okay, that was not the best one, but anyways. Right. Okay, just like that. the game is finished. So those were all the chain jumps that we've got in the main any percent route. There are plenty more in glitchless and other categories, but I'm not going to go over them because, well, my channel is mainly about any percent and grinding any percent, even though I haven't done that for like 2 years. Alright, so finally I'm going to show you how to run the legacy version. If you have already bought Classic and downloaded it, either from Steam or from GOG, I'm going to show you how exactly to get the legacy version working. Alright, so here I've got my installation folder for LBA2 Classic. And here I've got, of course, all the executables and everything else. For me, the directory as user backslash, so I saved games backslash TLB2 dash classic. But if you're playing in Steam, it's probably going to be Steam apps, common, and everything else. In case you're installed it through GOG, it's going to be whichever directory you selected there. Here we are in the root folder. So here there is a folder that the devs conveniently referred to as speedrun. Right, inside it is a folder called Windows. We press that one as well. And here in this folder there is where is it again? Yeah, start lba2.bat. Right, so a batch file which we can use to directly launch LB2 inside the DOSBox emulator. Of course, there are better emulators to run it in, but because most of our autosplitters are based on the DOSBox version, that is why we keep running the legacy DOSBox. Right, so of course there are some known issues with the DOSBox version, like the music volume and everything else. That is why we need to open config, right? Right, here it is. So this is sort of the main config file where we just adjust the window size for the game, as well as make it run windowed if we so desire. Personally, I prefer to run it in like a 1024 by something else window because it's just more convenient. This is also the config file where we've got to make a bit of a small adjustment in order to get rid of the audio issues. So right here, there is the very last paragraph, the header for which is autoexec. And there's everything else. There is mount C, quotation marks, and img mount, then C, colon, then CLS, and right after CLS, there should be a line which says lba2.exe. But what we do instead is we skip a line, and in that line we type mixer blank space cdaudio blank space 0 colon 0. Again, mixer blank space cdaudio blank space 0 colon 0. So like that. I'm going to put that same parameter in the description so that you can copy and paste it right there. I'm not going to provide the whole config file because all of the other settings are set up to my liking, and you might have other preferences. So yeah. Besides that, there shouldn't be really any other major issues with this port. So once you are sure that you have set everything up, you can start the game by launching it through the batch file called startlba2.bat. So I think that's all I wanted to cover in this overview. Of course, there are going to be more overviews in the future, but for now, this is pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and if you have any more questions, please go to the Discord server, the LBA2/LBA1 community Discord server, which is in the description. It's all linked in the description, including all the save files that I made. All of them are right here, and including all the other useful info that you need in order to get good at the chain jump. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.